So the UFC coming strong on that same day or the day after with some UFC 291 fight announcements. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. I thought this could be a pay-per-view main event. Now they've sort of upped the ante even more. They're putting the BFM title attached to it. What are your thoughts on the rematch between Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje? First fight between these two was April of 2018. It was a main event on Fox. Only the third UFC fight at the time for Gaethje, 20th for Dustin Poirier. Poirier, a slight favorite right now on DraftKings Sportsbook for the second act against Gaethje. Your thoughts on that main event in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the BMF belt. It's a little gimmicky. It's kind of WWE-ish, but I am a huge fan of that fight. Obviously, they have fought before. These are two dudes that, if there are any dudes out there in the UFC, they are absolutely worthy of that title. I mean, those guys come to fight. Those are two dudes that any organization can rely on to go out there and fight. They're going to move forward. They're going to look for a finish, and it's just going to be nonstop action. I mean, there's no way that fight can't be boring. I'd be very surprised if it does go the distance. If it does go the distance, we're going to have another classic fight between those two. So I think Gaethje has made huge improvements since then. I think it's a fascinating fight, man, and one that's going to deliver insane action, destined to be a classic for sure.
So the question beckons, does the attachment of the BMF belt move the pay-per-view needle? I think we all would argue when they did it for Nate Diaz and Jorge Gamebred Masvidal the first time they had done it. I think it was UFC 244 in 2019. The Rock was the one who ended up putting the strap on Jorge Masvidal. Yeah. You got to think that sold a few pay-per-view buys. I'm not sure if it does in this case. I thought this fight could stand alone without it. Yeah, I mean, I guess the pure sports fan in me wonders aloud, like, do you then defend the BMF belt, right? Because at 155 pounds, the Islam Makhachev-Alexander Volkanovski rematch has legs. But if Beneil Dariush beats Islam Makhachev, most people believe that Islam Makhachev is going to fight Beneil Dariush. So Gaethje and Poirier need to settle this business. Whomever wins might still have to wait a little bit to challenge for that undisputed lightweight title. They both had multiple cracks at that. So we'll see what happens. I don't have a huge issue with the BMF belt, but I do wonder sometimes if that belt will ever be defended, or is it truly as cosmetic as we are led to believe.